Okay. Okay. Okay, Brad, you want to make the motion to appoint the temporary assistant CFO?
Yes, and so we'll appoint Pam Weiner as assistant CFO on a temporary basis, effective, I believe, the 14th of September.
I'll second that. Anybody have any questions, comments on that?
No.
Roll call?
Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Crone?
Yes.
Before we go on, Lisa, do you think you have an issue with the way we voted on that one amendment? Do you want to go back and revisit that?
Yeah, only because Frank didn't specifically say that he was voting on resolution 7720, and I think we need to do that so you can sign the agreement for a formal.
Just him, or do we need to do the whole thing over?
Nope, I think everything's good if we could just get a motion in a second and a vote on the 7720.
Okay, so I'll make the motion to adopt resolution 7720. Anyone second?
Is that with my amendments, right?
It's the resolution that
Yes.
authorizes the mayor to sign your agreement.
Okay. That wasn't something that I made a motion on then. I made a motion on the second amendment, right? So you're not talking about my motion, right?
Frank, the resolution authorizes the mayor to sign the amendment that you voiced the changes for.
Okay, so
Yep. So I have a motion from Bob.
Second.
Okay. Mayor Barsney?
Yes.
Mr. Beam?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
And Mr. Crone?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the CDL training, Paul, is that you? You have that on here? Or
No,
Joe
I
Mexi,
don't.
or what? What's it
No.
about? I don't.
So this came about last year, and Joe just asked that I put it on the agenda so you guys are aware. Our CDL drivers will need to attend this, and I'm not sure if there'll be any associated, fees with that, but I'm sure you guys obviously want them to get the training that they're requiring now, so.
Okay. Halloween, what's
I
question
put
on
it on
that?
there. I've just had a lot of residents approach me to verify, yeah, we're still all planning on having a Halloween. And at this point, the governor's certainly said it's okay. And I've kind of reiterated that to people. Unless the governor at the last minute comes up and stops it, I don't see why we wouldn't be having Halloween.
I would have no intention to cancel. I think everybody can make their own decision. If they don't want their kids to go out, they don't let them go
Sure.
out. If you don't want to give out candy, you don't give it out. However, so I wouldn't have any intention to cancel. I don't know what everybody else's feeling is, and the governor has said he's okay with it. So anybody else have any
like I
input on
said,
that?
I just wanted to bring it up to the TC because I have had people reach out to me about it.
Yeah.
So do they have to wear a mask?
It's optional.
Well, a lot of costumes already have masks. So.
Anybody else have anything on that? Paul, I think we're the FAQ page too, right?
The
Did you have
what?
that put on, Paul? Frequently asked question page?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't see it here on my agenda, but I think we should add something to the website, and I don't know if it should be department-based or not, but I think we could eliminate an awful lot of calling the clerk, calling zoning, calling the tax. If each department really laid out their most frequently asked questions and have it available on the website, and there might just be a tab for it, frequently asked questions. Yes, you need a permit for Zoll, or yes, you need a permit for a fence. You have to see zoning first. There's a tax drop box, whatever the most frequently questions are, because I see that there's such a repetitive phone calls for all the professionals about some of the same stuff constantly. And I just thought that it might be nice, back to communication and with the public, if we could put something on the website, frequently asked questions. It's not something that we're going to want to do tonight or anything. It's, talk about it, figure it out, and see if that's a good idea, because I think it would save a lot of phone time.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so some we're gonna look into, I guess?
Some we're going to look into. I mean, because I got to believe, I'm hoping not to have Mike Lavery's office write it, but I'm sure it's going to all need to have proper phrasing and technique and stuff like that. So, but we should probably put that together through our respective department heads and find out, including the police department, obviously, too. So,
Okay. I just want to bring up something real quick. It's not on the agenda, but I think we're going to consider maybe starting our meetings at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 7:30, executive session, and start the regular meetings at 7:30, because I hate to have these people sitting all the time from 7 to 8 o'clock while we're in executive. So I would like to do it at 6:30, but I know some of us have time issues of getting home from work or whatever, but I just think maybe we should just allot 7 to 7:30 every meeting for executive. If there's no executive, the meeting will start at 7:30. Just something to think about for next month.
I'm fine with that.
Me too.
I'm good with that.
You good with it?
it works for me.
Okay, so Lisa, from now on, let's do the agenda, 7 to 7:30 executive, 7:30 is regular meeting. So we have to change that on the website and everything else, and on the frequently asked question page too.
There you
Do we
go.
have to re-advertise?
I would think you would have to, yeah.
But Bob, that would then restrict us?
I can't-
Would that restrict us?
I'm not here every day.
Can
Hey,
you hear me
Bob.
now, Bob? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear
No, I
me?
can't hear you at all.
I can hear you.
I
I
can
can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, so my question was, if we say 7 to 7:30, is that a deadline? Are we stopping at 7:30 every time?
Oh, I'd like to put that in everybody's head that whatever you're bringing up, unless we have something that's,
All right, and if we do have to, if we couldn't
Yeah,
get
we're
it,
gonna have to do, we're gonna have to do a
It was
hard stop at
second one, okay.
7:30, go public, and then go back.
Hey, Bob,
that's fine.
just
That's fine.
just a thought. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I support it, and if you want to institute it right away, that's fine. But being that we only have 3 months, 3 meetings left this year, we'd have to read
Next year?
it at a cost. Do you want to just start in January?
Yeah, that's true, that's fine.
I'm good with that.
I'm
Yeah,
good
let's
with
do
that.
it that way. Yep, makes more sense. Good suggestion. So I threw it out there so we can come up with an answer. Okay, good. Old business. First thing I'm gonna bring up, cameras in the meeting room. Everybody see that new quote we got to get the system we
Yes.
got is antiquated, it's old. We're not gonna be able to do much with it. So I asked for a quote from John Paul. He came up with it. I think it was over $6,000 and another $1,500 for installation. I think we're probably talking up to $10,000. Nothing we have to decide tonight, but I think for next year's budget, we ought to start thinking about updating the computer and the cameras in the meeting room so that, the way it looks now, COVID's going to be here for a while. So either the only way we're going to go live is to upgrade the camera system. I don't know if we have 10,000 to do it right now. Maybe we could check with Karen and see if we can make any end of year transfers and start it. I don't know, but just something to think about too.
I had actually brought up to Lisa that maybe John Paul could come in and explain how it would even work.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I think we need to be able to do is if somebody does need to work from home, how would they participate in the meeting? If one of the
Right.
committee members. So if you had some of them in the building and some at home, how would that work?
Well, then should we, Jean Paul for next meeting to put a,
Yeah.
Lisa, can you contact
If
him?
we could get him here, that'd be great.
I spoke to him today and he has it on his calendar, so he'll be my.
I just liked that there was a 75-inch TV in the proposal. I thought it was pretty.
Okay. The
I
Frank
didn't hear you,
Pinto-
Lisa. Did you say he
Anybody
spoke to
have
that?
any-
John Paul will be here next month. He'll be on the
All
meeting.
right, cool.
Anybody have anything they really want to discuss on the dam removal regarding the memo for Frank Pinto? All he did was give an update on what the Army Corps of Engineers is doing, really.
Yeah.
Firehouse, any updates on that?
No, I know that the Chief Mexian and Chief Hummer got together to talk about space, but I don't know anything more about it at this point. So
Okay. Farm fertilizer registry. We have anything to discuss on that, or was that handled last month?
Mike, you were going to follow up on that, right?
Well, that's the ordinance that we handed out, I think, last month. That's the to require them to file documents with us before they do so we'd have to introduce that ordinance.
I don't think that we ever got it, Mike. I think the discussion was you thought that we had circulated that, but I think,
No, I've circulated that at least twice. Anyway,
I'm not sure. I don't have it, but.
All right, well, we'll put it on next month's agenda. Just for everybody that's joined the meeting, the public, this is an ordinance that we're looking to create so that everybody knows what type of chemicals are being applied to the farms that are adjacent to where they live. So we like to get that visibility to the public and put it on our website. All right, Mike, so just don't worry about it. We'll look to do it next month.
all right.
Lisa, anything on insurance?
I defer to Mike Lavery on this, but I think I just need, in order to go out with this RFQ, we just need Mike's okay on the way that it's written and authorization for me to get it published and out there.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. It's a professional service anyway, so you're not required to, I mean, it's good practice to go out and get proposals, so I have no problem with the RFQ.
Anything on records management disposal, Lisa?
Brad actually wanted this on the agenda as an item. I have been providing updates in my report every month, so unless you guys have any specific questions, it's going well. We're gonna get 10 more filing cabinets and try to make the ones that are in the meeting room look a lot nicer and have zoning and land use board continue to sort of do their sort in there. The very last 10 boxes of clerk's files are now in my filing room to be sorted. So we disposed of 14 more cubic feet the other day, and it's a process, but the bay for the garage for Joe is going to be emptied, and the storage unit that's outside is looking pretty good. So I just wondered if we have a point person on talking to the Legion at this point about utilizing that space when it's available.
I'll follow up on that. I'll reach out to them and see what they want to do. But I do have a whammy to throw in here. I just realized Cohacon wants us to take control of our court records as part of the agreement because they don't have the storage space either to keep our court records. So as court records are closed out, whenever we're required to find space for them. So we are going to get some of those back. Okay. Anybody else have anything on old business?
Hey, I had, yeah, Bob, if I could, I'm sorry, and I should have asked to have this, but two things. I just wanted to, and I know I already sent a note to Mike Finelli, but I just wanted to acknowledge how nice those roads are on Washington Street and in Payside. It really, I got to say, it really came out nice. I don't know what influence you had on that, and I know you live there, so maybe you're like, hey, make them even nicer. But they really came out nice. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I meant to do that at the last meeting and I forgot. So.
Actually, Brad, I'm going to follow up, and I don't know what Mike's got to say with that. There are several, we have some local pavers around here that do work, and they had actually commented that Tilcon sent the A-team.
They did. I think they're the nicest roads in town right now. So yeah. I'm gonna be riding my motorcycle all around your neighborhood.
Stop in and say hello.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we were very pleased, even from a quantity and cost perspective, right on target, or even maybe a little low. So no, it was well done. We're very pleased.
It came out real nice.
Brad, you said you got two things, or you done?
Oh, just and then so the next was really just like a question for Mike. What's the projected start date on the paving for Dumont and Rickline? Do we have a date? I guess.
It will be most likely in still a shot for the end of September, most likely early October. We've put our request to be put on the schedule to Tilcon. They've known it for months and months now. There was a little holdup with the with the Rick line because of the railroad crossing. The railroad sent back a laundry list of comments, which was pretty pretty surprising, a little overwhelming actually, so we may, you know how obviously on Rickline Hill, there's when you go over the railroad tracks, there's the large hump in the road.
Yeah.
We may stop the overlay right before the railroad and end it obviously on the other side, because the railroad company's being ridiculous. But we're trying to work that out between the railroad company and the DOT. So to answer your question, Brad, not to bore you with all these details, soon, hopefully by the next meeting, both of those roads will be paved.
Oh,
What
great.
we want to do, well, we're going to talk about the ADA ramps for Dumont in a second. So,
Okay. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay. Okay, so under correspondence, what do we need to talk about there, Mike? I guess the ADA ramps you just mentioned, right?
Well, there's actually 2 sets of ADA ramps. There's Washington Street, which is the paving's obviously been done on Washington Street, but that remains. I've sent out my letters, and then in Dumont. This is well below the bid threshold, so we got quotes. We've got the required insurance information from the contractors. So let's real quick, Washington Street, motion to authorize and award a contract to Nava Construction in the amount of $14,040 per the bid receipts received by our office. And again, this is part of the grant. This has always been part of the scope of work. So nothing we weren't expecting or any surprises.
Okay, so are we looking for an authorization to accept that one quote?
Yeah, that is the low quote. It's considerably low, actually. The other quotes are over 19,000 and over 34,000. So the $14,000 quote is a very competitive, good quote. We know the company; they'll do a nice job. So that's again.
Anybody want to make the motion to accept those prices as quotes?
I'll make the motion.
Anybody want a second?
Oh, I'll second it.
Anybody have any further questions or comments on it? Roll call? Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I think Paul is frozen. Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Ms. McDermott,
Yes.
and Mr. Perone.
Yes.
Okay. That particular award is the last thing to do on the DOT grant for Washington Street and Stewartsville Road. So once that gets done, we can apply for, excuse me, the final chunk of that grant. Now, next piece of action, similar to what we just did, but this is for Dumont. We've got 3 bids for the handicap ramps on Dumont. Sabelli and Sons is the low quote at $16,925. Next bidder came in at $17,000, so right there. And then the other bidder was over $22,000. So should be a motion to authorize award of the contract for handicap ramps and the associated concrete work to Sabelli and Sons General Contracting for Dumont Road in the amount of $16,925.
I'll make that motion. Anybody want a second?
Second.
Any other further comments, questions on that?
No.
Roll call. Yes.
Mr. Beam,
Yes.
Did you say my
Hear
name?
you.
Mr. Marqueta.
Yes.
I can't hardly hear.
I can't hear
hardly
you.
I was gonna say I can barely hear Lisa.
Yeah.
Me too.
Ms. McDermott,
That-
Yes.
and Mr. Perone.
there
Yes.
you go. That's better.
Anybody else have anything else before I move on to public comment?
No.
I'll make a motion. We open up public comment. Anybody want a second?
Before you have a second,
Yeah.
you have a correspondence letter from Warren County Agriculture Department regarding
Okay.
opposition to productive farmland areas in need of redevelopment. Brad, this
Okay.
is something that you had mentioned in the past. Thought that might be of interest to you. Is there something we need to do with that? Do we need to?
Where's that letter?
I can explain that, to be honest with you, if you want, not that, 'cause
Yeah, no,
I'm
Brad, you had brought this
pretty
issue
familiar
up.
with it.
I know you had
Yeah.
talked to me about it in the past.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this may be something that we may want to support. I don't know, but
Who's speaking to it?
Mike, you're going to speak to it?
Oh, you want me to quickly explain it? Or Mike
Sure.
Lavery? Which Mike?
I could tell you, because I'm very familiar with this, because this happened in a town that I represent. There was farmland that was designated as an area in need of redevelopment. And your first question is, if you look at the statute about what you have to, what you have to meet in order to declare, and we went through this with the old school building, is that how could farmland ever be deemed an area in need of redevelopment? But towns have done that. So the upshot of that letter is that, they're obviously opposed to that for a number of reasons. And I think I thought I read that there was a bill in the legislature to do just that, to change it so that you couldn't declare farmland as an area in need of redevelopment. But like I said, it's happened. Farmland has been deemed to be an area in need of redevelopment in different towns around the state. And, the Warren County Ag Board took a position obviously against that's not good policy.
Hey, Mike, I have a question. Are you aware of any projects that are being developed or proposed to be developed in Warren County right now that are on farmland that they're trying to get this designation as an area in need of redevelopment?
I do know of one that was already done in Warren County. And I am aware of others that have been requested, but not thus far granted. I can't.
You can't.
Mike, what about the
Matter
warehouse?
of public record?
Excuse me?
The one that was granted, is that not a matter of public record?
Oh, it is. Over at Hawk Point. Part of that was deemed an area of need of redevelopment was farmland.
No, Mike Finelli hadn't made it, was going to.
Yeah.
There,
The one, to answer, I think, Brad's question, one that's just recently been approved is in Franklin, actually. The township approved the designation for the area in need of redevelopment. There was litigation. It now got remanded back, and it's going through the process again, actually, which is all public information. And just, I'm sure everybody knows this, but this is all about establishing a pilot program. So that's
right.
part of the big picture. Okay. I mean, it's not the.
Nobody's building anything nowadays without asking for a redevelopment designation and the pilot, because they don't want to pay as much in taxes. So, but here's how you protect against it. Because the only way that happens is if your planner finds that it meets two of the prongs of the statute that you have to prove in order to say it's an area in need of redevelopment. So that normally doesn't happen in towns where they don't want that to happen.
Yeah, and Frank had mentioned, we've had conversations about this because of the warehousing boom, and we know that there are a lot of warehouse builders who apply for this so they can get a pilot, but in some instances, it makes sense. A pilot was granted over in Phillipsburg for the Ingersoll Rand property, but that was property that was really in need of redevelopment because it was
That was zone business, right?
and
That's what the law is meant for.
Yeah, that's what it's meant
It was
for.
meant for.
It's not meant for a farm field in a local township, maybe even neighboring Greenwich. And my feeling is like if any of these things were to come in a town near us that would affect the quality of life here at Greenwich Township, is if there was a proposal or a request to go to a pilot, I would ask that the town committee consider objecting to that, because it shouldn't happen, because it isn't going to start setting these precedents that are just terrible. So I'm glad, to see this, the Agricultural Development Board putting this through, because it should never happen like that. It's not what it's meant. It's meant for these urban areas where they had, abandoned buildings and nothing's been done for 20 years. There's a lot of properties in Peaburg that would, that's exactly what it's for, to encourage development and redevelopment, but not for a farm. It's just a way of, skirting paying your fair share of taxes. That's all it is. When they do it in farmland.
But
That's
anything you could have a farm in a business zone, which is what we have all along 173. How would it work there? That wouldn't apply, right? Even though they're farming it right now, it's in a business zone.
Well, no, anybody could come to you and, it starts out with the township committee would have to say, oh, we think this is a good idea. So we're going to refer it to the land use board to investigate, right? If you're going to put it in an area that need a redevelopment. So
Mike, my question is this. This says opposed to designating productive farmland. So productive farmland could be on a business zoned property right now because we don't have any businesses there yet.
No, it could.
So would this address that?
No, it could.
No.
But my point is that none of this happens unless you say it happens. So
No, I understand.
they don't even do the investigation unless the committee passes a resolution. And then your planner's going to have to find that it meets the prongs. And normally that doesn't happen if the township's not in favor of it.
But if they don't have a pilot, they're paying the appropriate property taxes.
Right.
The redevelopment designation allows them to pay
Correct.
substantially less. And that's what this is trying to avoid. So if they have a business, they want to put it on a piece of farmland and it's zoned for it, and they're paying the property taxes fairly, then they're paying by the rules. This is trying to kind of, in my opinion, kind of go around the rules and paying your fair share of taxes, which is just.
So are they looking for support from?
Not listening to what Mike's saying. This only happens if the township committee approves it.
Right.
So
We know that there's other townships that would do it.
Yeah.
Well, they would. Yeah.
So the state law will have to address that. Was I think what Mike's saying. He thinks there's one in the hopper already.
I believe I read something about that. I could be wrong, but I thought in the last couple of weeks I had read that there was a proposal to amend the
Well, I mean, it's
statute.
very simple. If you want to make a motion, Frank, to that we are in support of that letter, I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't seen the letter. I haven't seen the letter. I've just seen this on here. So I don't really want to.
Look at it then next month if we want to do
Yeah,
something like
we'll
that.
talk about it next month.
Okay?
Yep.
Anything else? I'll make a motion. We open public comment.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Frank?
If anybody wants to speak, please raise your hand or. Okay, Vicky. You are. There you go, Vicky.
It's actually a question about the paving on Rick Line and Dumont. Do you know about how long that's going to take? And when is it going to start? About approximately.
It should really, Vicky, probably a total of 3 days for both jobs. Rick Line might take 2 days. Dumont's probably going to take 1 day. Let's say 4 days tops. And again, it'll be hopefully soon.
Mike, can we make sure
We're
that
waiting
the
to get on their
school board-
schedule.
Can we make sure that the school's notified? I'm thinking what she's asking is probably because of the
That's
bus
why I'm
route.
asking.
Oh, yeah, no. We always do that. When school's in session and buses are going, they're aware of the situation. We coordinate start times around the bus
Okay.
trip and so forth. So, no, we got you covered there.
Because the schedule's a little different now, with the COVID.
I can only imagine, actually.
Yeah, because the afternoon buses are different. The timing is different.
So, no, we would communicate with the school. And once we know when the schedule is, that's the problem. We're helpless at the moment because we don't know when. We usually find out about a week in advance as far as a firm date when they're going to, be out. So once we get that call from Tilcon, we can get in touch with the school. So we will definitely let them know.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. Anything else? Frank?
Lisa, do you have Vicky's address for your records? Do you need it?
632 South Main.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky.
All right, Robert Brunk has his hand up, so I'm going to unmute.
Go ahead, Bob.
Go ahead, Robert.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Rob Brunk, 121 Kennedy Mill Road. What's going on with Paisano's restaurant? Does anybody have an idea? Or what used to be Paisano's restaurant?
No, I haven't seen anything, Paul. I haven't seen anything come across land use
No,
board, right?
there's been nothing. There was a couple of things that they were trying to work it out, and I'm guessing nothing's gotten worked out yet.
Oh, well. Have a good night, guys.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks,
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else,
Vicky-
Frank?
Vicky again.
Okay.
Sorry, I
Go ahead.
meant to ask, is there any update that you can give us on the affordable housing? Because when you guys mostly talk about that, you're always in executive session. But is there anything you can share publicly about what's going on with that? When is it going to start? Have they broken ground? Anything like that?
So right now, we're in the process of going out for the tax credits, the funding for it mechanism. Ingerman, who is the developer for the Dumont site, is putting together an application. We originally went out one time and we didn't get the funding for it to offset the cost. So we had made some changes. I don't know if you heard that we made an amendment to add 4 more bedrooms to the units. No more units, but 4 more bedrooms to the units on Dumont Road. That helps to get the cost per unit down, and there's some kind of calculation that works in so that there's a lot of different criteria that they look at in order to give us the funding because we're competing against other towns. So that was one of the mechanisms to give us more points in order to move up higher on the list to get funding. So the deadline to get that application in is the 23rd. So we should be hearing shortly if we get the funding for it. Anybody else want to make a comment? You can raise your hand by pressing the button. I don't see any other hands raised.
Looks good then.
Yep.
I'll make a motion. We close public comment. Anybody want a second?
A second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody have anything else before we adjourn? Hearing none. Anybody want to make a motion? Okay. Somebody wants to go ahead? Go ahead.
Oh, well,
Anybody-
motion to adjourn?
Anybody want to make the motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Anybody want a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night, everybody.
Night.
Have a good
Good night.
night.
Everybody.